Today we have another Photoshop tutorial for you. We're going to keep this one really quick and easy, and today we're going to cover how to extend your backdrop in Photoshop. Sometimes you take your photo and everything looks really good with it. It's just we didn't quite get the backdrop all the way, a little bit, it's out of frame. We want to go ahead and extend that backdrop out so we can save that image, and that's what we're going to teach you today. Here is the image before we do the backdrop, and this is what it's going to end up looking like in the end. So we want to maintain that shadow from that ladder and then go ahead and extend that out. So let's get started. Okay, so to extend that backdrop, we have a couple different ways to do it. Well, there's more than a couple ways. I'm only going to go over two today. One way to do it, and then the way I prefer to do it, we'll have the patch tool is the first way we're going to do it. So first thing we want to do is we want to duplicate that background. Anytime you do anything in Photoshop with any of your photos, you want to make sure that you're preserving the integrity of the original copy. Any changes we make, we want to make sure that we do that on a copy of the original and not the original itself. So that way if we mess up or we make a mistake, we're not ruining our original copy. So we're going to go up here and we're just going to take our layer and duplicate that. All right. And now we have a safe copy we can make changes on. And if we make a mistake, that's fine. Mistakes happen, but we didn't ruin the original. So I'm going to select this patch tool. The patch tool is right here. Now, literally looks like a patch. We're going to grab that. We're going to bring it over. We want to make sure that the patch tool is under something called content aware. That means that it's going to be aware of this shade that we're bringing it over to. So when we select it and we bring it over, it kind of thinks about what its surroundings are, and it's mindful of that, and it tries to blend in like a chameleon. So you can go ahead and grab your little patches and bring them on over. It's not always going to be perfect. You still have to fiddle around with it, but it's a good way to move big chunks of color quickly. And a lot of people like doing that. You could honestly probably do the entire thing this way, and that would be perfectly fine. The way I prefer to do things is, I'm just going to go ahead and take over from where we are now, is I like to use the clone tool, which over here, it looks like a little stamper. It's underneath that paintbrush. Clone stamp tool. Go ahead and grab that. And you want to make sure that you have a pretty decent size for this image. If you're dealing with tighter spaces, you're obviously going to want a smaller brush. But for this, we have a lot of wiggle room. We're going to go ahead and grab a bigger brush. I'm going to bring it on over. And I want to sample a bit of this gray. The gray is the color I want to put over here, all along this edge. So that's the color I'm going to sample. And I'm going to hit Alt-click. I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to hit Alt-click or Command-click on the mouse with your PC. And that way we get that gray color going. Okay, so we're going to hit Alt-click or Command-click with a PC. And that's going to sample that gray color. So when we bring it over here, we'll be painting this in that gray shade. So we're going to go ahead and bring it on over. And I like to do multiple clicks. So click and drag, click, click, lots of clicks. You probably hear them all going on there. And we're just going to go ahead and repeat till we get it all filled in. Once I get it filled in to about here, we're going to treat it a little bit differently, but let's go ahead and get it filled up into that point. Okay, so we have it filled in for the most part. I have a little bit here left, but I wanted to talk to you about that before we continue doing that part. And that's just about this. We have a little bit of a shadow cast from this ladder. We love that shadow. It's giving it a lot of depth. it's good to have that, but we want to preserve it. Here, we don't want to take it off with gray. If I just go ahead and click this real quick, and I go and I take that all the way up to the ladder, it no longer matches and it doesn't look believable, and we don't want to do that at all. So we want to make sure we preserve some of that shadow and take it all the way down. So I'm going to hit alt click here to sample this little section where I have half of the shadow and half of the non-shadowed part, and then we're just going to bring it on down. So that way we know that we're preserving some of that. There you go. All right, so that's looking pretty good. We have we filled that background in. There might be a couple little bits that need taken care of and addressed a little bit. I'm just going to circle that and bring that on over. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my eyedropper tool. I'm going to bring it on over, and I'm just going to sample a mid-tone right there in that gray. I'm going to grab my paintbrush. And for the opacity, I already have it down pretty low. I have it down to 28, and that's exactly where I want it. I don't want it too high. I don't want it to be 100%, and I want to be able to see it a little bit. So we'll keep it around 26, 28, somewhere in there. And we'll just come on over here, and we'll just kind of start painting a little bit. That way it's going to really smooth that wall out and take care of any little bits and really give that a perfect look. There we go. So that's how you extend your backdrop in Photoshop. You can use your patch tool. You can use your clone tool. I think the important thing is the finishing step. In this sample, we used the eyedropper, and then we just painted a very little bit over the top in the same color to kind of blend it all together. Another thing you could do is you could blur it. You could just blur it a little bit. But you want to make sure you put a little finishing touch on there to make it all become one thing and kind of make it meld together. In this, in our finished photo, we went ahead and we removed the clip that was on the ladder, and we went ahead and did a little tune up on the skin. Baby Maple has beautiful skin, but we went ahead and just took a little bit, a couple marks she had on her face. We cleaned those up too. We're not going to go into that too much because we really wanted to make this quick and easy for you today. We just wanted to talk about how to extend a backdrop. But if you like what we're doing, please like and subscribe. We're going to have a lot of little tutorials coming up. We do plan on doing videos on how to clean up skin and how to remove clips and things that are unwanted in your photo. Plenty of tutorials coming up, so please give us a follow, and we'll have all that information for you in the future. Thank you so much for watching.